Welcome to Exposing Workplace Bullying, where we pull back the curtain and have real conversations about workplace abuse. This is episode 33, Mind Games. I'm your host, Dr. Jan Kircher. Really, when I think about it, the worst part of workplace bullying isn't the put-downs, the eye rolls, or for me, even the day the bully charged around the table at me. I could have handled all of those things. What had the greatest impact was what it did to me psychologically, to my sense of self. It changed how I saw myself. The bullying made me question my own judgment, my abilities, and even my own worth. Workplace bullying got inside my head. That's what's so damn traumatic about it, the mind games. The point was never just to upset me in the moment. It was to wear me down, diminish my confidence, and leave me questioning my own eyes, my own judgment, and even whether the bullying was real or not. I left academia for good, and the bullying ended. But the trauma and the long-term damage did not simply disappear. I carried that around for a long, long time. Over the years, I've had to work to heal and to let go of the hatred I felt toward the 8 people who bullied me. I had to do that for myself so I could move forward. And even though I've let go much of the pain, what still makes me angry today is that not one person, not one family member, not one friend, not my therapist or doctor ever told me about the psychological damage workplace bullying can cause. It distorted my sense of self. And for much of my adult life, I believed the negative things that were said about me. When I looked in the mirror, I felt disgust and shame towards the person staring back at me. It took years to undo all the damage the bullying caused, and some of those scars remain with me. But what troubles me most is knowing that much of the damage might have been reduced had I been given the knowledge and tools to protect myself. There were things I could have done, things I should have done to reduce the traumatic effects of workplace bullying. But no one ever told me how. And that gets to the heart of why psychological bullying is so damaging. Bullies go after the very thing we rely on most, our trust in ourselves. If you've ever seen the 1944 film Gaslight, it tells the story of a husband who systematically convinces his wife that she is going insane. He does this by constantly challenging her reality. He moves things, denies things happened, and repeatedly insists that what she sees and remembers is wrong. Over time, she begins to doubt her own judgment and relies more and more on her husband's understanding of what's real. In the process, her confidence, self-trust, and sense of self are slowly dismantled. That is exactly why gaslighting is so dangerous. Your bully's goal isn't simply to deceive you. It's to get you to stop trusting your own judgment, your own perceptions, and your own reality. The real danger isn't what Bob says about you. The real danger is when Bob's voice becomes your voice. The problem is that most people don't see this happening while they're being bullied. You're in workplace survival mode, just trying to get through the day with as little abuse as possible. You know the bullying is affecting you. You know there is psychological fallout, but your focus is on getting the bullying to stop. I know how that is because I lived it for years. I went to work. I was bullied. I reacted. I went home. I went to work the next day. I was bullied again. I reacted again. I even did everything people told me to do. I documented incidents. I reported what happened. In some workplaces, I even eventually left. But the bullying never truly stopped until I removed myself completely. That cycle caused a great deal of trauma. If you're in this cycle, it's causing damage to you, whether you realize it or not. You can stay in that cycle. Most people do because they're focused on getting the bullying to stop. I understand that. I get that too. But there is another option. You can prioritize yourself instead of spending all your energy trying to change Bob's behavior, which, by the way, you have no control over. Or you can make a conscious decision to protect yourself from his mind games, his manipulation, and the psychological warfare he's playing. Yes, that means engaging in workplace self-defense for psychological bullying. Full stop. I didn't do any of this until I had been bullied for over a decade. And it was by far the biggest mistake I made. If I could change one thing, if I could go back in a time machine to that very first day I started being bullied, I would start on that day knowing that no one was going to stop the bullying. I would practice all of the types of workplace self-defense we've talked about. All of them would have reduced the frequency and intensity of the bullying I experienced. But workplace self-defense for psychological bullying, that is the one I would be hyper-vigilant about. That is the one that would have protected me the most from the long-term effects of workplace bullying. And it starts with ground control and threat assessment. Staying grounded is crucial, especially when you're dealing with psychological abuse. When you're grounded, you're far less likely to get pulled into Bob's mind games. You stay connected to reality, remain in control, and keep your focus on what you know to be true. When Bob starts gaslighting you, telling people you never finished a report, denying things that happened, or otherwise trying to rewrite reality, you recognize what he's doing. Instead of defending and immediately reacting yourself and getting emotional, you stay controlled. You take a few deep breaths or count to 50. At that same time, you remind yourself of the truth. Use self-talk and tell yourself, I know I completed the report. I know I did. Bob is lying. I know what happened. Or try an affirmation, something like, my records and facts are real. I know I did my job. I don't need others to validate me. Confusion is their tool. Clarity is my anchor. If you need to, confirm. Go back and check your documentation. Look at the report, the email, the date it was submitted, and remind yourself that the facts support what you already know to be true. You submitted the report, and Bob is not telling the truth. That's how you stop Bob from rewriting who you are and making his lies part of your identity. But Bob doesn't give up easily. He relies on repetition. So he keeps criticizing, insulting, manipulating, and trying to distort reality to erode your self-trust and push you towards his narrative. He hopes you don't protect yourself, because each protective move you make disrupts what he's trying to accomplish. And that is to hurt and harm you as much as he possibly can. So weaving self-care into your workday is another way to reduce the traumatic effects of Bob's mind games. Even if it lasts only a few minutes, it is something that gives you a break from Bob's abuse. It's an opportunity to reconnect with yourself instead of focusing on him and the bullying. Every intervention and strategy you use adds another layer of protection. And it takes multiple forms of workplace self-defense working together. Each one strengthens a different part of your psychological defense system, helping you stay grounded, maintain perspective, process the abuse, and protect your sense of self. Some of these tools can be used at work, like deep breathing, documentation, disengagement, and microscripts. Others happen at home through exercise, hobbies, meditation, journaling, or conversations with a trusted friend, family member, or a workplace coach. When I was at work, I used music, self-talk, and a variety of grounding strategies. At home, it was gaming. It gave me a way to decompress, clear my head, and take my mind off the bullying for a while. I still use it today, and it still works. But gaming wasn't the solution. It was one part of my workplace self-defense plan. There isn't a single strategy that's going to protect you from the psychological abuse of workplace bullying. Protection comes from multiple interventions working together over time. Workplace self-defense is a system. Every strategy serves a different purpose, but together they help protect you from Bob and the tactics he uses against you. When you disengage, you avoid getting pulled into his game. When you use a microscript, you stay in control of the interaction. When you challenge gaslighting, the facts and documentation that you have strengthen your trust in yourself. Every intervention and strategy shifts your focus away from what you can't control and toward what you can. It reminds you that you are not powerless. You are powerful because you are taking steps to protect yourself. And when you reduce the harm from bullying, you reduce the long-term impact it has on your life. And sometimes that's all you can do. And with that, we've reached the end of exposing workplace bullying. Thank you for listening.
They gaslight and plot, play their games. Witness a smile, you're part of the shame. Your boss stays silent, closing the door. How many voices will they ignore? The bully lies, the brave get burned. The office watches, no lessons learned. Your boss hides, truth gets colder. It's time to stop the bully culture.